Good afternoon to everybody and welcome all of you to this technical webinar on detailed analysis of ESG, that is environmental, social and governance frameworks and standards. I am Vibhu Swain on behalf of IAEMP and Indian Association of Accredited Energy Auditors. I welcome you all. I shall be moderating the sessions and I welcome Sri Prabhat Saraswati, who was principal in sustainable practice from EuroAsia Consulting Private Limited and is also one of the governing body member of Indian Association of Accredited Energy Auditors. He is an accredited energy auditor. So he is the main faculty today who will be discussing on this ABC of ESG. And before we start the session, let me tell you about little bit on Mission Sustainable India and what exactly we, the conscience keeper, are doing. And lot of members are there in MSIs located in Pan India, doing their respective work to achieve the concept, to achieve the objective of Mission Sustainable India. Leading organization is Indian Association of Energy Management Professionals, where I am working as General Secretary of IAEMP. Also, it is being supported by Saraswati Educational and Charitable Trust, which is mainly collecting the fund, trying to organize workshops, trying to share knowledge. We have a LinkedIn group. MSI has a LinkedIn group page where you all can join. Also, it is being supported by a lot of BE friends. Almost all the state, we have separate BE friend groups where all energy professionals are there. And it is also supported by Econor and Grihashikya Kendra and PowerTech. Now, friends, it is a very few slides. I'll close early so that we can go into the detail of today's subject. But before that, let us understand what is MSI. MSI means about what exactly we want, what type of nation we want, what type of state we want, and what are the cities, towns, villages where we live, and what is the life or family we want. That is the basic objective of MSI. And it is all we feel that we have UN India SD goal, that is Sustainability Development Goal 2030. There are 17 goals. And Prabhatji will be narrating all these goals in his subjects. And he will discuss on ESG, but that is limited to few corporates. And we feel that India can achieve SDG goals provided we practice the objectives of MSI. And if we don't do that, for us, it looks difficult to achieve this UN SDG goal by 2030. Now, what exactly we have done? We have, in the period of 3 years, last 3 years, we have brainstormed enough. We discussed all the chapters. We discussed a lot of areas. We didn't work in silos. We take the views of different professionals, different experts in water, in energy, in healthcare, in habitats, you can name in education, in various sectors, around 16 sectors we discussed, created WhatsApp groups, and accumulated a lot of knowledge, and accordingly we framed the vision documents. And almost a number of professionals are associated with these works. This was a massive work, after which the vision document has been prepared. And what are the key recommendations in the vision document? We feel that citizens should be empowered. Now, they should be also not only work for their right, they have to also discharge their duties. If you see Article 51A, Indian constitutions, there is a provision that every Indian has to work for forest, protect forest, wildlife, and environment. So it is the duty, it is the constitutional duties of every citizen. And we also feel that in MSI that all the angles of sustainability should be aligned in 5P principle. That is P for planet, that is environment sustainabilities, then people, that is social sustainabilities, peace, partnership, and of course prosperity. Prosperity is basically economic sustainabilities. So all our activities should be aligned in the principle of 5Ps. And we feel that we need to have structural changes in judicial, in bureaucracy, in governance. Unless these structural changes does not happen quickly, then perhaps it will not be possible for all of us to achieve this UN SDG goal by 2030. And we feel that this achieving the structural changes, the citizens are more important. They are the central pillar of the whole MSI, and they have to act on the basis of their own conscience. And of course, we believe mass media has to be also sensitized so that they do the correct reporting in terms of sustainable development. And after that, we feel that there are a lot of technical recommendations which we'll be studying today. That is sustainable water, energy, all these technicals are there in the vision document. So there are 3 volumes. 4 volumes is the case studies. In the 4 volumes, we have sustainable citizen, governance, bureaucracy, judiciary. Then in volume 2, we have mass media communication, education, habitats, health and well-being, food systems, then energy, water, transportation, production planning, tourism. So we discuss all the findings are there, recommendations there in the vision document. You can Google it, you can purchase the vision document, you can write to us, you can become a member of MSI, contribute for this growth. And these are the 6 W1H of MSI, that we need a development which is need-based, not greed-based, and it should be environmentally friendly, economically viable, socially acceptable, and should foster peace and partnership. Now we need this development should be holistic in all forms of life for the planet, not on the only for the human being. Or COVID has taught us a great lessons, and this activity has really started with COVID. So we have a lot to learn, and since our resources are finite and we cannot have infinite single dimension growth in terms of only economic prosperity, today Prabhaji will discuss how environment, social, governance are equally important so that we can utilize our resources meaningfully. Again, for whom we are doing this? Now it is for the villagers, urban, rural, environment, wildlife, and it should start the way lockdown has been declared and we have acted, whole India has acted, responded to COVID, due to which we could eradicate from the nations. So it is possible if every citizen can act in that fashion, and it is owned by all the people. Anybody can own MSI, and lot of volunteers are working in the field of food, water, air, energy, waste management, habitats, livelihood, healthy, natural being, biodiversity, education. And our collective effort, we named it as Mission Sustainable India. I hope the strategy will keep on changing, but whatever we discuss in various our workshop, seminar, webinar, then it should be aimed to make a public demand. It should start with our own family, then society, then our state or village or cities, so that it can be made as a public demand. And I request, urge, appeal to all of you to get connected with MSI through various pages, through various social media, donate for this noble cause, and you can write to us, contact the MSI team. They will be able to support you, and you should be part of this MSI and make it a public demand. Now coming to today's workshop or webinar, today's topic is detailed analysis of environmental, social, governance, frameworks and standards. In this case, we'll be discussing various frameworks, standards, and we should understand what is ESG, what are the KPIs related to sustainability. Prabhatji will discuss more on the technical issues, and I hope he will deliver and I will be able to answer all your queries, and also will discuss on India's ESG reporting framework and what are the various international ESG standards and how we all will be benefited. Though it is limited to few corporates right now, but definitely I feel the way the current government is doing and is leading the G20, energy transition is a major subject there. So I hope with emergence of Indian national carbon market having voluntary emission reduction as well as certified emission reductions, we feel that it will also lead to this ESG will lead to MSME and every industries, every organizations, and for us it is one part of MSI which we discussed just now. And I think Prabhatji, today's faculty is Saraswati. He is an accredited energy auditor. He has completed his MBA in energy management and holds a bachelor degree in mechanical engineering from NIT Surat. And he's also a IGBC accredited professionals, chartered engineers, lead auditor in energy management system, certified energy manager by IAEAE. And he has a lot of industrial experience, around 23 years of industrial experience. He has narrated the Indian national carbon market, carbon footprint in the last webinar, which we have conducted under the MSI banner. It was a very wonderful subject. We got almost 110 registered participants for that. And I hope he will be able to take care of all your queries and will elaborate the ESG for the benefit of all of us. And with this, I conclude my PPT, and I am being General Secretary of IAEMP. I request all the certified energy managers, engineers, industry professionals, energy auditors to join IAEMP as a live member. And the link, you can take the screenshot of this. You can join online through a Google Forms. And with this, I conclude. Now, I think Prabhatji will be able to answer all your queries. And if you have any queries in between, you can write, introduce yourself in the chat box and put your queries. If it's required, we can take a few questions in between the PPT. Otherwise, after the end of the session, we'll take up all the queries and so that it will be meaningful one. Now over to you, Prabhatji, for your PPT and presentations.
Thank you, Vibhuji, for introducing myself and Mission Sustainable India. So I think I'm not the expert of ESG, but what I have learned and just try to gather all the information which I feel it is very important to share with you people. So if any questions, I will be happy to answer. But I'm not the expert, as I have said, but try to make it simplified, this ESG framework, because we have heard in many, you can say, terminologies about this ESG. So I have segregated in 4 sections. So I think first section I will take a few minutes, couple of minutes, 2 minutes, introduce my company and what we are, you can say, giving services under the sustainability practice. And then we will try to understand the ESG and what are the sustainability KPIs under the different ESG frameworks. And also, I will try to explain what are the most recognized international ESG standards companies are following. And finally, the India also has their own ESG reporting framework notified by SEBI, that is called BRSR. Also, we will discuss in detail what are the principles, what are the guidelines, and what are the KPIs under the BRSR, and to whom it is mandatory. So, BAC, having 30 years experience in international consulting. So, we have office in Munich, Germany, but I am from Mumbai office, and I am representing sustainability practice. So, I will not take much time. And these are the services which we are rendering to our customers related to sustainability. And already, I think Mr. Behu has introduced me, so I will skip this. And this is my small experience in industry related to the energy management and energy efficiency. And also, I have worked for some decarbonization of some industries. I have prepared roadmap for aluminum sector. It is in, I think, companies in EGA, Emirat Global Aluminium, which I was the member of that team, which prepared the roadmap for decarbonization of aluminum industry. So before moving ahead, just I'm trying to, I think already I have shared these pictures, so just setting the context that why we are discussing about these topics. So everybody is aware about this all global warming and climate change. So our glaciers are sinking. So this is the photograph picture of Gangotri glaciers. And now I think this is the picture from 2005 flood in Mumbai. So just I am trying to correlate these all incidents related to the global warming and climate change. And everybody is aware about the clouds burst in Uttarakhand in 2013. So we have seen such type of, you can say, damage or due to this global warming and flooding in Chennai 2015. And now why we are, you can say, planning for sustainability. So why it is so important, not for across the globe, but for India. So you know that we are a developing country and our economy is growing, but at what cost? Ultimately, energy is required for any development for any country. So industry is contributing around 30% of the GHG emissions in India. And we know that we have the most polluted cities in India across the Asian countries. Out of 15, 12 cities are from India. And you know that we are the third largest GHG emissions also globally. So pollution impact on society and economy, we know that it is effect on the health. So 480 million inhabitants in North India affected by most extreme levels of air pollution, 1.6 million deaths due to the air pollution, and we have the impact on the economy also. So so sustainable development, just I'm trying to, you can start this topic from the sustainable development goal. We know and that we have 17 SDGs. I think a decade back, I think 2014-15, the 17 sustainable development goal was prepared by United Nations. So each goal, you can say, it is covering almost every aspect of the human life. If these goals are achieved within the stipulated time, it is sure that the life of poor throughout the world will be easier. So goal 1, you know that there is no poverty. Goal 1, SDG 1, no poverty. So by 2030, eradicate extreme poverty for all. These are the objectives or basically brief discussion of each goal. So zero hunger, so good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy. This is the center of, you can say, for sustainable or the clean energy transition, goal 7, and decent work and economic growth, and industry. I will hide it. Yeah. industry innovation and infrastructure, SDG 9, and reduce inequality, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace and justice, strong institution, partnership to achieve the goals. So these are the brief descriptions of the 17 goals. And I think everything we are talking about ESG or other climate change, global warming, this goes to the basically to achieve these 17 goals. The ultimate objective to achieve these goals through the various, you can say, activity. So now understanding the alphabet soup of the ESG reporting. So we have heard ESG standards, ESG framework. So I have categorized in 4 categories to understand the whole ESG system. So fundamentally, there are 4 main categories in this alphabet. So first, the standards, then frameworks and ratings and indices. So ESG, what is the ESG standards? Standards that govern the metrics and provide specific rules of ESG measurement and disclosures. For example, GRI, Global Reporting Initiatives, and the SASB, Sustainability Accounting Standard Board. So these are the standards, you can say, out of many standards. And ESG framework. ESG framework is basically the guidelines that how the information should be disclosed. For example, CDSP, Carbon Disclosure Standard Board, International Integrated Reporting Council, Carbon Disclosure Project, CDP, and the TCFD, Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosures. So these are the various frameworks are available across the globe. Now the ratings, how the rating is done for ESG, that which company is more sustainable, how it can be compared, that what are the sustainability, you can say, score they are getting. So there are some rating agencies are there. So rating includes basically agencies that collect information through surveys and other methodologies together. They have different methodology, they add their own system. So ESG data from different organizations, for example, Sustainalytics and MSCI, these are the rating agency, and ESG indexes. So these are the compiled data into a single matrix to represent a particular market or strategy. For example, the Dow Jones Sustainability Index and FTS for good and Bloomberg. These are the agency. So ESG metrics are used to basically assess companies' exposure to a range of environmental, social, and governance risks. These metrics can be used for a range of ESG integration approaches such as benchmarking or scenario analysis. And ESG disclosures, it refers to the disclosures of data relating to an organization's environmental, social, and governance performance. So many companies are disclosing their, you can say, ESG targets and commitments under these 3 pillars. So, so now reporting and you can say what are the expectation from the stakeholders. So just I have tried to make it easier that why it is required, to whom the report should be done, where this information will be disclosed, and what and how. So why report this ESG information? Why we should report ESG information? So response to the compliance requirement. So there are the many compliances are there. The company need to disclose their ESG information or ESG disclosures. Progress against company's strategic commitments and aims. Communication with the stakeholders, NGOs, and social expectations align with the peer practices. Respond to the international community like SDG. So if you want to address any SDG, you can say activity which company is doing. So that to respond to those SDGs also, ESG information is required. And participation in rating or ranking or indexes. So if the company want to get some ratings on the ESG score on the sustainability aspects, then subsidiaries, collaboration, partners, and value chain. So these are the some, you can say, why we should report ESG information, to whom ESG should be, you can say, reported. So I think it may be for investors, suppliers, for targeting customers, employees, regulators, NGOs, and competitors and media. So where we should report this ESG informations. So basically, we can incorporate these information or disclosure in the mainstream compliance reports, or you can say the annual reports, and we can prepare an integrated report and sustainability report. These all disclosures need to be disclosed over there, and especially voluntary disclosures, investors, analysts, and presentations and media releases. So what information to be reported basically? So ESG related risks. So these are the information we need to, you can say, disclose. And what are the opportunities basically? So the risk and opportunity both are need to be disclosed. Management actions, schemes, and projects to, you can say, preserve value, governance, strategic goals, targets, and performance. So how information to be prepared and presented? So we need to adopt a framework or reporting principles. We have various reporting guidelines and frameworks to disclose ESG informations, like GRI, the most recognized frameworks and standards under the ESG or sustainability. IIRC, International Integrated Reporting Council, SASB, Sustainability Accounting Standard Board, CDP, Carbon Disclosure Projects, CTSB, UNGC, United Nations Global Compact, TCFD, and the UN SDG also, and BRSR. This is the Indian guidelines or framework for reporting sustainability by the companies who are listed. I think 1,000 listed company has been notified for issuing the sustainability report and by the SAB. So these are some basics about the ESG and why, you can say, the expectations are changing. So environmental sustainability and the governance and social issues, these are the issues which has been recognized by the company. And now it is because we are moving from profit to the purpose. So materiality assessment and mapping. So first we need to understand what is material for the company. Any environmental issue, because for any company, all the issues may not be so relevant. So we need to understand what is material for that. So the mapping should be done accordingly, and the ESG vision should be clear for the company, and now then establish ESG strategy and roadmap, and clear ownership should be there, and refining our operation and other processes to improve ESG scores, improvements over time, then ESG report review, and finally then it goes to the disclosures. So these are the basic steps. Yeah. So now we will discuss about what is ESG for each pillar of the ESG. Basically, sustainability. What is ESG? ESG basically it's a sustainability related disclosures and the key to ensure inclusive and sustainable financial growth. It helps industries and corporates to achieve UN SDG and attract financial investors. Basically, we know that we have, you can say, ESG funding is also there. So every investors or financial institution are looking for their ESG performance related to sustainability. So they are the three basically pillar of ESG. So environmental, social, and governance. So environmental pillar is very most important and you can say critical aspects for any company. So in environmental, we are, you can say, assessing the climate. We are making our climate change strategy, biodiversity, water efficiency, carbon intensity, and environmental management system. In social, we are looking for equal opportunities, freedom of association, health and safety, human rights, customer and products responsibility, like extended product responsibility, EPR, child labor, and governance. So the businesses, we are talking about ethical business and the compliance, whether we are meeting our compliances, the board independency, executive compensations, and shareholder democracy. So these are the key parameters are, you can say, looked under the governance. So environmental factors basically assess the risk of a company and its suppliers or partners from climate events and its impact on the physical environment. And social factors basically assess a company's relative social impact and associated risk and societal actions, including from the direct and indirect employees, customers, and communities in which it operates. And governance factors basically assess the timing and quality of decision making governance structure and distribution of rights and responsibility across different stakeholders groups in services of positive social impact and risk mitigation. So these are the key things. So basically what comes under these pillars, each pillar. So as I already said, environmental pillar is very important in view of extreme weather conditions. We know about global warming and climate change related to GHG emissions. So this pillar is very, very important to focus on. In recent years, due to global warming and climate change, we know. So emissions such as greenhouse gases and air, water, and ground pollution emissions. So these cover environmental pillar cover these aspects. Resources such as recycled materials, or in production, how much we are recycling the materials and how much it is going for the landfill. So these all are aspects are covered under environmental. Similarly, companies are expected to be good stewards of water resources, land, and concerns like deforestation and biodiversity disclosures are there. Companies also report on positive sustainability impacts they might have, which may translate into long-term business advantage. And from a reporting perspective, this is the most complex pillar basically. And social pillar focus on employee well-being and community welfare, including corporate social responsibility. So under this pillar, companies report on how they manage their employee development and labor practices. They report on product liabilities regarding the safety and quality of their products. They also report on their supply chain labor and health and safety standards and controversial sourcing issue. And governance, the main issue reported under the governance pillar are stakeholder rights, board diversity, how executives are compensated. So these are the already I have discussed in the earlier slides, so I will not take much time. These are some repetition of content. So now we need to understand what is the materiality and what matter for the company under the ESG. So basically, to identify specific challenges and opportunity, to determine materiality based on particular ESG issue, to improve ESG score, to maintain brand and reputation in fast business changing scenario for sustainability. So say example, like all sectors of the economy not face the same ESG issue. For example, in the case of banks, so greenhouse gas emission is not an issue because they are not consuming directly any energy, or you can say which are responsible for GHG emissions. So for bank, GHG emission is not a material. So so that is why, so these differences in what matters to a particular sector from an ESG perspective is called materiality. So like companies report on issues that are material to them. Basically, companies are focused to issues, you can say, report those issues which are basically or really matter for them, or they are, you can say, responsible for those, you can say, aspects. So typically, materiality is determined based on what ESG issue is considered financially material in each industry. So financially material issues are those that can impact a company's financial performance. For example, unexpected surplus cost, fines, loss of brand value, loss of revenue due to the consumer, because consumer nowadays choosing more sustainable alternative or sustainable products. So now the double materiality concept is also coming. So double materiality is being recognized as an important concept in choosing what is considered material by a company. So as you know, with matter is financially, you can say financial impact is there, then obviously that matter is very important for the company. So double materiality means alongside the financially material issues, socially material issues are also treated as material. So now the companies are focusing on like social aspects also. That is by it is not just that it is affecting the financial aspects of the company. So now double material concept is coming nowadays. So ESG evolution and scorings. So what are the key factors for evolution of ESG for any company? So is an evolution of an organization performance against the various sustainability metrics. So I have segregated like environmental, social, and governance. Like 12 factors are there. They are basically assessed, and evaluate based on those factors, what are the environmental performance and the social 12 factors and governance. So as you know, already we have discussed about the environmental key aspects like greenhouse gas emission, energy consumption or energy intensity, and the various chemicals, hazardous chemicals emissions, how much waste we are generating, and which type of packaging and logistic we are using, supply chain transparency, buildings, biodiversity, water, sustainability, sustainable sourcing, product stewardship or the life cycle assessment. So these are the factors which are, you can say, used for assessing or the scoring the you can say ESG performance. So yeah. So what is the ESG rating agency? So there are I think more than 10, but I have collected information of about 10 ESG rating agencies. So are organizations that examine a company's environmental, social, and corporate governance policies to determine its sustainability. So basically, these are the D&B and Sustainalytics and ESG risk ratings, MSCI, Morgan Stanley Capital International ESG rating system. They have their own Bloomberg, FTSE, and DJSI, Moody's, CDP, S&P, Standards and Poor's Global ESG scores ratings is there, and institutional shareholder service rating and ranking systems. So these are the various rating agency are engaged to, you can say, give the rating to the industry based on the ESG performance. So checklist, I think for each and each pillar, we can make a checklist for our making our KPIs. Strategic goals and KPIs we can define for each pillar. So for environmental, to reduce gas emissions or GHG emissions, we can make a KPI for them. To improve the use of renewables, to reduce natural resources consumptions, to reduce waste, and to improve the efforts to address greenness. So these are the, you can say, KPIs which can be fixed by a company. It depends on the company to company and the type of operation and activities have in the business. So it depends on that. So like in social pillar also, we can make some of our KPIs, employees accepting of organization changes to guarantee the quality of environment and work conditions, to guarantee the respect of the human rights, to participate at the social initiatives, and to maintain a high level of responsibility. So these are the KPIs we can fix under the social pillar of ESG. And in the same fashion, we can make our own KPIs based on our business governance. So to increase the return of investment, to increase the revenue associated with sustainability dimensions, to enhance technology process, to guarantee quality of the process. So these are some governance KPIs can be fixed by the company. So what are the how these measurements are done based on this KPI? So different methodologies, or you can say the measurements procedures are there for different frameworks. So just I have mentioned a few. So like for environmental, to improve the use of renewable sources, to reduce superfluous resource consumption, to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, environment safeguards. So these are some KPIs and how it can be measured. So some you can say measurement can be done like per ton or per unit or per employee, like GHG emission for CO2 per ton of product. So percentage of waste generated per ton of product, like that we can measure these KPIs. So in the same fashion, social governance, all the three pillars, we can make some measurement to evaluate the performance. So finally, some questions also can be asked as a survey by the company who are validating our this ESG commitments or our ESG reporting, like science-based target initiative, like under GRI, under SASB. So these all frameworks and guidelines are available, and they are asking some questions also related to the each ESG pillars. So like environmental goal achievements questions can be asked by the investors, like what is the company's policy on environmental responsibility, what is the company's track record on waste management and reduction, how does the company rate in terms of GHG emissions, What are the company's water usage practice? Does the company have any sustainable sourcing policies in place? How does the company treat, you can say, endangered species? What kind of packaging does the company use? Like in social goals, some questions can be asked. What is the company's policy on human rights? What are the company's track record on labor and employment standards? What is the company rate in terms of health and safety? What are the company's social media policies? So these are some questions are being asked during the survey by the different standards. So like the governance goal achievements, the same few questions can be asked. This is just for reference for your sharing purpose. You can go through it once we will share. So by doing the, I think for now, if somebody want to improve sustainability or want to make more score, high score in the ESG, so there is a race for net zero, because it is under the environmental aspect. Everybody, you can see, focusing, or you can say focusing on the net zero targets or decarbonize their businesses. So there are some countries which I have mentioned their targets, and already they have, you can say, the peak of their carbon emission at the national level, and they have started reducing or declining GHG emissions as a whole. So I think we are expecting that our carbon emission peak will be there by 2040, in between 2040 45, and we have already targeted that we will achieve the net zero by 2070. So, and accordingly, based on the science-based, you can say the calculations, that we have a certain budget for from now. So how much we can emit maximum GHG emissions? Like we have a budget of around 380 gigaton of GHG emission. If we want to reduce the temperature rise below 1.5 degrees centigrade, so it is 50% likelihood. So these are some 380, 730, so maximum 1230. But the temperature rise will go beyond 2 degrees centigrade in such scenario. So these are some carbon budget. We have to, you can say, play within that budget, like our family budget. So we have to spend accordingly, wisely, and judiciously. So now this is the basic. So now ESG reporting backgrounds. So how does a company report ESG? So several national and international reporting standards are available to report ESG for a company, but no ISO certified reporting system is available as of now. So everybody, you can say, many NGOs, non-profit organizations are preparing their guidelines, principles, and depending on that, the suitability, companies are following those standards depending on the market demand or investors' requirements. So, but as of now, there is no standard or ISO certified rating reporting system is available. So ESG is broadly through thought of as a reporting framework. However, originally it was framework developed for evaluating the sustainability. So related disclosures of listed companies for investors. Now, with demand for ESG related information on the rise, the ESG framework has become synonymous with reporting. So now, ultimately, it was a framework to evaluate the sustainability of a company, but now we are talking about ESG directly as a reporting ESG framework. So there is no standard of ESG framework already. I have shared with you. So reporting is typically done by applying one or more frameworks. And the two most used reporting frameworks are the Global Reporting Initiatives and the Sustainable Accounting Standard Boards, as SASB, that is called SASB in short form. So ESG reporting is typically done by publishing a sustainability report. Although more and more companies are disclosing data through web pages that showcase the company's ESG performance in addition to a more standard report. So you can see, or we can see in a company portal that there is a separate sustainability system is there, and you can say download the sustainability report and we can go through it. So yeah. So this is the background of ESG reporting system, that how we started to report sustainability through the ESG framework or through the ESG disclosures. So I will not go in details. So we have already discussed in many guidelines. So yes, so these are the various frameworks or standards, you can say. So some of the most adopted or reported standards which focused on a broader sustainability or GSG or financial disclosures or stakeholders or combination of such disclosures. So BRSR, this is the Indian framework or guidelines for reporting sustainability by top 1000 listed company. It is mandated for financial year 2023 this year. So already many companies have reported their sustainability in the form of BRSR. So ISSB, CDP, these are the various, you can say, standards or frameworks for reporting ESG. So now just I have simplified these all various frameworks and standards. Recently we have established a international sustainability standard board, which will be, you can say, oversee this all type of unify the sustainability standards. So that is by this ISSB has been established, and it is influenced by TCFD. That is the main, you can say, the standards of framework, and the complement by GRI. So and IFRS also supporting this ISSB. So now this will be the central focus for you can say unifying the sustainability reporting frameworks. Yes. So I think I have selected 2 standards for discussing in details. So GRI is an international independent standards organizations that help companies, governments, and other organizations to understand and communicate ESG related topics. So the GRI headquartered in Netherlands. It was established, founded in 1997. And I think there are the 2 different approaches are there in each standards. So one approach may be like company impacts on the climate change, and second approach may be the climate change impact on companies. So the different standards are using different approaches. So GRI approaches the company impact on the climate change. Sustainability reports of most of the 500 Fortune companies use GRI standards. It is a free product. So there is no, you can say, cost for that. So GRI is an NGO with 100 staff globally and 1 in India. One of GRI mission is to support the United Nations. Even all the GRI or SASB support the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So GRI has 3 sections basically. So for each company, so reporting standards are grouped into 3 categories, like universal, sector specific, and topic specific. So universal are basically standards that apply to all reporting companies, and they include general disclosures on organizational details, the entities included in the reporting period, frequency, like such general information are there. Sector specific, like for the steel sector, for power, for different sectors, it can be used. So there are the 4 sectors for which GRI has developed already standards to support material disclosures. These includes basic material and needs, industrial, transportation, infrastructure and tourism, and other services and light standards. So topic specific also we have different sections under GRI. So GRI standards basically we can group like for universal approach, for sectors approach, and the topic approach. So different you can say these principles are there. GRI 1, 2, 3 we can apply for the universal approach, and for sector specific like GRI 1, 1, 2, 1, 3. These are some different principles. Just I have mentioned here for reference only. But it is available. GRI guidelines are available. We can go through and understand each and every principles of GRI for sector specific or universal or topic specific. So SASB, this is the another you can say largest used mostly used second mostly used standards for ESG disclosures. Yeah. So so now once again I'm discussing about the net zero or science-based net zero targets. So net zero is a goal that aims to cut GHG emissions close to zero, with any remaining emissions removed from the atmosphere through mitigation methods like carbon capture or carbon offset. So basically, whatever the potential to reduce GHG emission, first we need to reduce those emissions, then we can go for the carbon offset, and also finally still some hard to abate emissions are there, process emissions are there, then we can go for the carbon capture and store. So these are the three, you can say, approach of to achieve the net zero under the SBTI. So SBTI recommends basically over 90% of decarbonization should occur within businesses and personal activities. SBTI also states that the offsetting does not replace the need to. It is not like that. Okay, we can go for, you can say, purchasing the carbon credits, or we can offset by putting some renewable source of power like that. So these are some this SBTI pathways to net zero guidance, that no pathway currently used the SBTI includes CO2 removal with geologic storage in the pathway boundary. So whatever the under the SBTI targets has been, you can say, given by the company. So as of now, there is no, you can say, company which has selected geological storage of CO2 capture. So the source of GHG emissions in manufacturing facilities, or you can say whatever the emissions are there, we can group in scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3. So these are the different activities like downstream and upstream, and the reporting company which has the manufacturing facilities. So the direct emission, which is called like scope 1, when we are using any fuel, any, you can say, for transport fuel, for any boiler, or we are generating steam. So like that, the ownership or which are emitted directly through the company, that comes under the scope 1. Then scope 2, say if we are purchasing electricity from the grid, or we are purchasing steam from some other company, so the related CO2 emission or GHG emission will be considering under scope 2, sorry. And the indirect emission also comes under the scope 3, which are, you can say, related to the upstream activities and the downstream activities of the company. So these are the some factors. We can follow the GHG. Even we can calculate our GHG emissions of the company by using GHG protocol or some multiplication factors for different type of fuel or energy usage. So these are some just reference I have mentioned here. And these are the category. I think you know that scope 3 is the most complex system for calculating the GHG emissions. So there are some 15 categories are there, which has been, you can say, categorized into two indirect GHG emissions, like upstream scope 3 emissions. Around 8 categories are there, and downstream 7 categories are there. So these are the, you can say, the definitions to understand what comes under these categories to calculate the GHG emissions, like upstream scope 3 emissions, like for purchase, if we are purchasing goods for our, you can say, further production, capital goods. So these are some categories, and these are some definitions I have mentioned. So I will not go in detail for each definition. You can go through the presentation when it will be shared. And so these are the basically the calculation method, because you know that scope 3 is the most critical, you can say, calculation method for estimating GHG emission or carbon footprint. So there are some methods how it will be calculated, because maybe possible we do not have the direct data. So which type of activity data is required to calculate scope 3 emissions? So just I have mentioned what are the method we can, like, say example for purchase goods and services, we can apply the method like how much we have spent on that particular product. So based on that amount spent on purchase goods or services by product, so based on that how much amount we have, you can say, spent on that. Based on that we have certain GHG emissions multiplication factor per per rupee or per dollar or based on the GDP. So that data is available. So these are some calculation methods for under scope 3 activities, even downstream and upstream both activities. So these are the data we need to collect for calculations. So I will just going through these slides, not discussing in detail. So already we have discussed that what is the difference between the carbon neutral and net zero. So in the net zero scenario, we need to consider the scope 3 also. So we need to, you can say, whatever the remaining emissions are there after improving energy efficiency by using renewable energy, by putting some technology transitions, technology advancements for the production. So carbon neutral, there is no need to focus on the scope 3. So we may be carbon neutral, or we can go for the net zero targets also. Yeah. So now the India already we have discussed the various frameworks and standards industrially available. But you know that we have our own NDCs and we have our own commitment at national level. And you may be aware about all this Paris Agreement. So these are the latest NDC update by Government of India, and that we will be reducing our carbon intensity of GDP by 40%, 45% by 2030 from the 2005 level. So these are some commitments by Government of India. Yeah. So what are the ESG regulations over there or are there in India now? Not directly related, but you can say these are some, you can say pushing, or you can say pushing the companies to be a sustainable, or you can say to become sustainable. So like in governance, the implementation of quota committees, it was there, and Companies Act we have in, and IBC already, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code we have, and we have adopted the Indian accounting standards. So like our clause 49 in equity listing agreement, corporate governance voluntary guidelines, and the reporting guidelines regulations we have, like disclosure of cash flow statement, clause 32, and compliance with you can say takeover code, corporate governance report. So these are some already regulations we have in India for companies. So like for social, we have CSR Act, so Protection of Human Rights Act 1993, Factory Act, and Rehabilitation and Resettlement Act 2013, Forest Right Acts. So these are some social related to social aspects. We have already some act and regulations in place. And for environment, we are, you can say, like we have FAME 2 scheme for EV, and exemption for road permit for EV and CNG vehicle, renewable energy subsidies, national NGT we have. So these are some rules and regulations already available in India. So, but so how ESG reporting in India has evolved. So I think earlier it was there, but not mandatory. It was on voluntary basis. So in 2009, there was a you can say national voluntary guidelines was there, issued by the MCA. And then 2012, the BRR reporting was there in place of BRSR. So SEBI mandated that the top 100 listed companies only by market capitalization. So they were filing BRR as a sustainability report. CSR, then in 2015, it was extended to 500 listed companies. And 2017, that integrated report was introduced by SEBI. And then NGRBC National Guidelines on Responsible Business Conduct. So it was released in 2019, and it has been extended to the top 1,000 listed company already. I have shared, and this BRSR is now mandatory from the financial year 2020 to 23. So now this BRSR is in place at present for reporting sustainability aspects. So BRSR, so just to understand what are the principles we have to report, to prepare the BRSR report. So in the latest reporting format in India, mandated from financial year 2020-23, it has been segregated in 3 sections basically and 9 principles with you can say essential and leadership indicators. So section A is basically related to very general aspects and general disclosures you can say, and it has second section is management and process disclosures, and section C includes the principle wise, because we have 9 principle to capture all the aspects of company related to ESG. So we have 9 principles and some so indicators are also there, some mandatory which is required to disclose by the company. That is called essential indicators, and some leadership indicators they can disclose voluntary on voluntary basis, depending on the information or on the data if they have. So these are the you can say structure of BRSR report, and so essential and leadership indicators basically defines the mandatory requirement for ESG reporting and value addition to improve ESG score, to keep ahead from the competition and more exposure to the market and attract financial investors. So we can go for the leadership indicators also, like we can disclose the life cycle assessment of our products. Say example, one company is making EV two-wheeler, or one is making some IC engine based two-wheeler. So based on that 2 products, we can disclose this is our, you can say, carbon footprint or the life cycle assessment of the product. So that is voluntary now, on voluntary basis, not mandatory. Yeah. So these are the 9 principles which are there in BRSR report. So we need to report all our ESG related aspects under each principles, like business should conduct and govern themselves with integrity and in a manner that is ethical, transparent, and accountable. So these are the 9 principles are there in BRSR report as per the national guidelines. So these we can you can say correlate under this ESG 3 pillars of each activities, or you can say the activities are covered under the principles. So that can be captured under the 3 pillars. And the you can say the also the all 9 principles we have tried to you can say link with the SDGs, that how much impact of each principles which is there in our sustainability reporting in India, which would affect the with this which SDG is affected, or you can say the it can improve the you can say our sustainable development goals. So principle 1 it is related to the SDGs 16 and 17. So I think the maximum the principle 8 has the maximum impact on the 13 SDGs basically, if you see here. So these had the SDG 1, no poverty, zero hunger. So these are the 13 goals it affects, the principle 8. So it is very important aspect under the sustainable reporting, the principle 8. So ISO certification to enhance sustainability of like because these are very important, because once we have a system in place, so ultimately it helps to industry to make more sustainable, or you can say to disclose their sustainability aspects. So like ISO 14001, if we have the certification, like it is for environmental management systems, and ISO 45001 health and safety management system, guidance on social responsibility, ISO 20400, the sustainable procurement management system, energy management system 50,000. These are the some ISO certifications which can any company go for certification and improve their ESG score. So ISO certification like or ISO 37 anti-bribery or management system is there, 27001 ISMS information security management system, and GHG and climate change material management system also it is available, ISO 14064, and for carbon footprint or for product life cycle assessment 14067. So these are the various for water efficiency or water management. So these are the various ISO standards which help a company to, you can say, become more sustainable or score high in the ESG aspects. So and some also nowadays, because it is a very lengthy process, and the you can say laborious work to, you can say, collect all data related to the environment, social and governance. So I think various software companies are there which are providing such type of, you can say, platform, or so which can capture all. We can prepare the dashboard for our stakeholders. So many software providing companies are there. Just I have captured few just for your reference, that which companies are there, like even IBM, and the Microsoft is also there. So these are the various companies who are dealing into the softwares, and which is very helpful to companies to capture all those data, and to, you can say, to disclose their KPIs, and to monitor the KPIs, to, you can say, identify the gaps where they are lacking, what target they have fixed. So it is very useful, you can say, to use such type of softwares. So these are some softwares I have mentioned. 17, 18 I have captured from the public domain only, just for sharing purpose. So so like SAP also, they have their own sustainability management tools. So various companies are coming in this sector for making a report easy. Yeah. So thank you very much. I have completed my presentation. Over to you, Bihuji.
Thank you, Pravadji, for a nice detailed PPT presentations on ESG. Now, this is not really ABC of ESG. This is A to Z of ESG, I think.
I have tried a little bit to say.
Well tried, Pravadji, well tried. And really thankful, immensely grateful. I hope the audience have immensely benefited, enjoyed your sessions. And
Definitely,
new
Ditto.
subject and very big subject. And I appreciate the way you elaborated and made this presentation. Really, it is helpful for any beginner and to start the ESG. And I understand a lot of opportunities are coming in ESG, and we all are being professional, should make a move towards ESG compliance. And I understand it is though limited to 1,000 big company, but definitely in future it may lead to a lot of other companies. And also what we practice in Mission Sustainable India, we also feel that this ESG or MSI in a short should be applicable to all individual organizations, MSME, or anybody who feels that, because sustainable, you cannot produce for own profit. You have to take care of sustainability, you take care of social benefit, you take care of governance. You should be a law-abiding citizen, company, corporate. Perpetual manufacturing is not the solutions, and sustainable manufacturing is the solution. And for sustainability of your manufacturing, you need to adopt ESG. So any organization can adopt ESG, and I understand there are a lot of frameworks. Now it is really difficult to study all those frameworks, but definitely it is required maybe 1 year course, or maybe through this continuous exchange of ideas, knowledge, it will be easier for professional to capture this all the ESG parameters and work on it. Thank you, Prabhatji. Now, I hope you have immensely benefited from the sessions. Now, let us take up all the queries what are in the chat box. If anybody has any queries, kindly introduce yourselves in the chat box and put your queries. We'll try to take up all the questions And I hope, and if anybody knows, all are professional, they can answer the queries in the chat box also. So, lot of good word for you, Pravatji.
Thank you all. Thank you all participants.
Now, Arun Kumarji has asked, please explain about BRSR and how it is related to ESG. I think already it has been explained. Still, Pravatji, you can just elaborate it.
Yes, because as I have already said that we have 9 principles under the BRSR. So each principle is covering the aspects of environment and social and governance. So basically, this BRSR report is a ESG disclosure of the company, or in terms of sustainability report. So certainly it has all the ESG aspects. So that is by like all GRI and SASB, all are addressing these all 3 issues of a company, and BRSR is also addressing all the issues under through the 9 principles.
That means there is a standard, there is a format, so any all the companies have to govern, have that standard and do it.
Yes.
Now, is there any certified organization who is supposed to that ESG, or who will do it?
Correct. Actually, as of now, assurance verification is not there. I think after 2-3 years, that the verified BRS report will be submitted by the company. But as of now, it is not there, and the company is preparing at their own level. And because the reporting format already issued by the SEBI, but as far as environmental aspect is concerned, companies are taking support from the consultants that how they can, you can say, disclose their GHG emissions as a baseline, because every year those have to be disclosed in the reports, and how much they have reduced, and what are the you can say the measures to be taken. So for such type of supports, they need consultants and experts from the market.
Okay. Now, are you thinking that, Pravatji, this BRSF's verified report, this guideline will be framed by SEBI, or it will be any other organization who will be framing the guideline for accreditation of that?
Actually, you are right. The SEBI already issued a consultation document. It is in public domain. And they have proposed that the report, because just to make the transparency, because any there may be conflict of interest, company may disclose wrong things and not verified by any expert. So they have proposed a assurance verifier, like carbon verifier. We had proposed. So assurance verifier they have proposed to verify the report before submitting. So the document is under consultation. Yeah.
Pravatji, just a formal query. Now, if you go through all the big 4, they are into audit, they are into consulting, they provide a lot of consultancy to all the big companies, particularly the number 1 companies of the country. Now, whether you think that they are also supposed to do the verification process?
Yes, because for checking those companies also, this ISSB also has proposed a supervisory body to control these agencies who are making the reports for the companies. So there be some empanelment will be there. So that is why International Sustainability Standard Board has been formed. So I think that will be streamlined. You are absolutely right. Because for getting more scores, companies can manipulate or can disclose wrong figures and data. So verification is important, and it will be there very soon.
Okay. So there will be some conflict interest handling procedure will be there. So
Correct.
Anybody who is a consultant should not do the verification process.
Correct.
Like current carbon verification or
Yes.
empaneled energy auditor are doing. So in case of empaneled auditors, they should not do audit of that organization for 4 years if they are doing the M&P audit. So I think government will take care of those issues.
Yes.
Now again, Arun Kumarji has asked, we are confused as there are many reporting formats are available. And you have shown around 20 or 15 to 20 reporting frameworks, if I am correct.
Yes.
Now, really, it is confusing. Can you name a few so that we can develop a good framework.
Yes, actually, that is why India has, you can say, prepared their own framework, BRSR, that is mandatory. Otherwise, based on the stakeholder requirements or investor requirements, because each framework and standards have their own, you can say, guidelines based on the focused on financials. For example, there are three factors: environmental, social, and this governance. Or some investors are focusing on the financial performance of the company. So based on the focused approach, we have different standards. So based on the requirement, stakeholder requirement, investor requirement, we need to select any international standards of framework. But for India, for Indian companies, we have a single standards which is more than enough to report their sustainability.
Whether that report, that format will be sufficient enough for MSME or small organizations
Correct.
also?
Yes. It is common for all.
Okay. Now, what do you mean by double materiality? I think you have already answered that. Still, if you answer it.
Yes. So actually, company normally focus the matters which is basically related to financial. If they are getting any financial loss, if they are getting any penalty, so it does matter for company. But nowadays, the double materiality concept has come because we are more focusing on now climate, global warming, social aspects, governance aspect. So it is not just you can say related to the financial aspect. So that is why we are calling it double materiality.
So basically, it is not only focus on the profit. It is have to focus on planet, people, peace, prosperity, so and all put together. So all the 5P of MSI, if you can say, it might be 5 materialities or so that it keeps on increasing. Now, PLE has asked how to select best selected KPI for a particular industries. I think it will come with experience. Still, kindly elaborate, Prabhatji.
Yes. KPIs can be, because depending on the or your concept, which is material for the company. Say example, any steel company or iron steel company, which are, you can say, more consuming more energy, fuels, and they are more polluted industry, or you can say highest GHG emissions are there, CO2 emissions there. So first, those companies need to you can say define what is material for them. Like, say example, I have given the example like bank. For bank, CO2 emission doesn't matter. So they need to more focus on the governance, how they are governing their systems. So for them, KPI will be different. For the steel sector, KPI will be GHG emissions. Okay, they will reduce 20% within 5 years, or they will get net zero by 2050, like that.
Okay. Basically, KPI will be different for each industries, each sectors. Like we have 16 sectors. So in MSI, so KPI will be have different, and everybody we require similar kind of sector expert for that industries who can really examine. And apart from that, law, legals, and social governance, IR issues, worker issues, HR issues also perhaps will be another KPI. There will be a mixture of consultants and our professionals who need to work to decide this KPI, I feel. And please conduct, Arun Kumar ji has requested to conduct a detailed ESG training. Prabhatji is a very busy man. I hope we'll be able to continue a detailed ESG training, provided Prabhatji gives certain time, and he has his own assignment also. Definitely, we'll in MSI we'll see how detailed ESG training. Prabhatji,
I'm not the right person, but what I will do, I will pick a expert from the industry. I know many people who are the ESG head in many companies. Like I know one. He's my you can say friend. So we will call him also, and we'll make a presentation, detailed presentation on ESG, or like ESG training type. So it can be done.
Okay. Akanksha ji has asked about DJSI. What is DJSI? It has been elaborated by Suresh Kumar ji, Dow Jones Sustainability Index.
Correct.
You want to elaborate further, Prabhatji, on that?
So these are the, you can say, rating agencies like MSCI, DJSI. So these are the companies, you can say, who are engaged to evaluate the ESG performance, to give the scores, to give the ratings, and which is recognized across the globe. Or the by actually DJSI, for example, many investors are only interested in the DJSI rating, so we have to go with DJSI. So these are the like rating agencies, CRISIL or credit rating agencies in financial aspects.
Suraj Kumar ji has requested for the slides for basic understanding on KPI of the things. Yes, these slides will be, a PPT will be shared to all the participants who have registered and pays the basic fees of 250 rupees and 500 rupees. If they are IMP and IA member, they can pay 250 rupees. Otherwise, 500 rupees will be sharing the PPT as well as the e-certificate. And these fees will be utilized for Mission Sustainable India's activities, for charity, and all the for noble cause. So kindly donate for the cause, and definitely we'll share the e-certificates, and the MSI team will send you the e-certificates and PPT. Now, Vijay Kumar Maniji has asked, is it mandatory to get certified with ISO 50001 and SA 8000? Lot of ISO certification you discussed, Prabhatji. Now, if somebody is going for sustainability, again, you need that they need to be ISO compliant.
No, it is not mandatory, but it helps because you will have the system in place. It will be easy for the ESG evaluation agency or company, or what you are disclosing under GRI or SASB or BRSI. So if system is there, so everything will be transparent. So that will help to, you can say, score high. Otherwise, it is not mandatory to have ISO certification for energy management, for environment management system, because it depends on the industry requirement or investor requirement.
No, if somebody is exporting and doing business in overseas,
Correct.
and particularly in EUs or US, now they get a lot of credit for ISO. Even it is not mandatory, whether that is still there or with this BRSI reporting or ESG reporting will through, because
it shows your efforts, or your you can say efforts towards the sustainability. Once the system is there, then you need not to say that okay, you are doing this activity. Once you have environmental ISO 40001 system is there, so everybody will be okay, you are doing well for the environment. So because you have your own systems for measuring, monitoring, and controlling systems are there in place. Energy management team, environment management team will be there, team leader will be there. So I think that helps to the industry to disclose their environmental related aspects.
Prabhaji, one of my queries. Now, you have seen a lot of format or lot of guideline. Similarly, if you see a lot of ISO certification bodies are there.
Yes.
Now, are you thinking that the government of India also will come with similar kind of standards for like they have come up with for ESG, or it is not in pipeline?
No, I think it will be like BSI is there. I think it will be there because for BRSR verification, already SEBI is preparing the standards for BRSR also. Because BRSR is the guideline now, framework is there. So certain standards will be there for BRSR also.
Okay. Now, Moni Rawalji has asked, restricting carbon emission is not a sustainable parameter approach. Moni sir, you would like to elaborate on it? Yes, kindly, sir. Please unmute yourself and ask your queries.
Yeah, I have unmuted. Sir, carbon is the chief atom of all the food molecules that sustain life. And that carbon comes from CO2. That carbon does not come from the fossil fuel, which is 2,000 meters buried in the belly of the earth. Now that CO2 is objectionable. How are we going to meet the food demand of 10 billion? The whole CO2 is wrongly perceived with reference to global warming, because CO2 over millennia has not gone that high as to caution any, amber light for us. versus CO2 concentration, the atmospheric moisture has gone up multifold, hundredfold. And all urban soil destruction does not take water retention capacity of the soil into account. And everything is passed over to CO2. This is a grossly unscientific derivation, in my view. And of course, there are very leading astrophysicists and geoscientists who advocate that CO2 is a friend because all our food comes from carbon in the atmosphere. Thank you.
Yeah, you are absolutely right, Mr. Rawal. And but as you already rightly said, the concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere is also required to keep the earth warm. So, but the higher concentration, because you know that 400, we are crossing the 400 ppm marks. So that is the additional, or you are absolutely right.
Sir. See the carbon dioxide concentration over last 50 million years. In last 200 years, from 280 we have come to 395 or 410. That is nothing.
Yes.
And against that, nobody talks about atmospheric vapor as a very strong, and of course, nitrous oxide.
Yes. Nitrous oxide, water vapor also. You are absolutely right. These are also
Water vapors today,
correct.
if we see last 5 million years of atmospheric curves, then water pressure shows the hockey stick curve, and that is the chief contributor of global warming, not CO2.
Do agree. I do agree.
Thank you.
I supplement. I congratulate Munisa for your queries and for your straightforward answer. We at MSI completely agree with your versions. If you Google carbon tunnel vision, you will find a circle, and one man is only focusing on carbon emissions. That is known as carbon tunnel division. I request all the professionals here, kindly look into that, Google it, carbon tunnel vision. We have two sides of
But
it.
why that is not discussed unless raised by someone like me, who is at the fag end of the life? What are the young professionals going to do?
Yes. And one version is that, yes, we are focusing on carbon emission right now. We have time to focus, or shall we focus all things are together? You have water crisis, health, education, resource scarcity. As Munisa was told, emissions of moisture, particularly moisture, and lot of poverty, biodiversity, air pollutions, overconsumption, inequality. So these are the issues.
Let us take global warming. Show me one molecule, carbohydrates, lipid, protein, nucleic acids, vitamins without carbon.
बिल्कुल सही है.
Agreed, sir. And perhaps we need to
one point.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Very, very fantastic elaboration by Muni Sahib. Hats off. And fantastic presentation by Prabhat Sahib. One point is that when I was studying in the particle chemistry at IIT Kanpur, these type of things we have observed, Muni Sahib. We have close linkage with Dr. Ajit Vidyarthi. At present, he is going to be director of CPCB. Probably everybody in the forum knows Dr. Ajit Vidyarthi's contribution. He is a PhD in nanoparticle and done for IIT Kanpur. The point is that, sir, what we are going to do? We are going to do for carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide. The version of your elaboration in the food or in the carbohydrate is absolutely right. Vibhu Saab has been elaborated carbon tunnel vision and all that. That is also very good. The point is that the point of discussion was that we are discussing with the carbon emission in terms of carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide. That the point of very thin layer is there. That please focus. Yes. I know that your version will be there.
Half lifetime of carbon monoxide is very small compared to dioxide.
Right,
We'll have to see the half-life time of the gases and molecules.
right.
Acha, carbon dioxide,
Absolutely.
you see, just tell me, if CO2, two oxygen shares 4 valency of carbon, how the carbon valency is shared in carbon monoxide? There is one oxygen, and oxygen has 2 valency. Carbon has 4. What happens to the other 2? And that
But
makes carbon monoxide far more reactive.
dangerous. Then the dangerous also.
So it doesn't stay for long if it is reactive,
Yeah.
right? So
They
you
do
see,
everything. Do everything.
we will have to look at the if
But
on one hand we talk about nanoparticles and we overlook the bond and valencies altogether.
No,
There's a contradiction of
avoid just want to say KCNS and KCN. Potassium cyanide and potassium sulfur cyanide. There's a one small particle of KCNS. That's why carbon monoxide is more dangerous, even though it is very light quantity, but it is more dangerous. I'm agreeing your point. What you are saying, I'm agreeing. CO2 emission is definitely a great worry, as well as the quantification or diversification in the food chain and all the gimmicks has been there. The point is that which I want to understand in last 150 years of industrialization in the global pattern. What I have understood that the rapid industrialization in the system is the not 50,000 years back, not 20,000 years back. This is the course of 150 years or 120 years. This is the point which we are worrying about that.
Just a point, sir. Industries are responsible, yes, but not for carbon dioxide emission, for inexhaustible, this indiscriminate use of water, and no industry declares the water footprint. I made a statement before. I am from Surat. I made a statement to some of the SVNIT professor and even Chamber of Commerce members that there is no industry in Surat. Nobody could prove me wrong, because
No, you are right.
no textile, color, or dyes and chemical industry declares the water footprint of 1 ton of their dye. And then the dye water costing is totally out of gear.
Manisha,
This is a hugely debatable question, but my only point is
not debatable at all, sir. Whatever you are suggesting is absolutely correct.
It is a magnet that draws us in.
It is absolutely correct. We at MSI, I think everybody will agree. Yes, carbon we are focusing more. We need to also focus on water footprint. We need to also focus on other areas.
Sir, 50 million years of carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere versus 200 years of water vapor. You take the curves and you derive it yourself. And 200 years is chiefly industrial civilization. Thank you.
Now, a good point, a note that yes,
my point is
the Water Resources Department is doing something, but perhaps it is not enough. We have a lot of water molecules, so water footprint, water verification, water footprint reductions, and water consumption reductions. Those are the areas where we need to really work. And of course, I also agree with Vivek Suklaji. Perpetual manufacturing is not a good. Sustainable manufacturing is good, and perpetual growth is not at all required. You have to be a content sustainable growth put together. With this, we can close this debate, but this is a debate. It is not a debate. It is
Can I add one sentence, sir?
Common objective. Kindly, sir.
Can I add one sentence, sir?
Please, sir.
Total water retention capacity of the soil is 8 times the total river waters of the world, and nobody is talking about soil.
Great.
And we talk about sustainability. It's very ironic.
Yes, the second point, Pravaji, I think you should also agree. Soil,
Yeah.
water, these are the areas for us,
even
and you are in a best position. Though we are doing a collective work, but definitely these work can go to the top, and we should have some framework for this at least.
even SOC is also important. Soil organic carbon content. I think Munisa will agree. So that is also because it is declining in the soil. I think it is less than 0.5% now.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes. So now we are talking about the organic FOM, fermented organic manure or organic, because the synthetic fertilizer we are using and it is decreasing all this SOC also, and it will affect our crop production and productivity. So SOC is also very important to focus on.
But Pravaji, if you that question we raised somewhere in a detailed webinar recently concluded.
Okay.
But again, food scarcity, food issue come up. Well, our whether organic organic fertilizer will be capable of looking into the food need of the people. So that's why we are relied on this inorganic fertilizer and chemical fertilizer. For us, we have to have organic fertilizer, and lot of professional entrepreneurs have to come forward with manufacturing of organic fertilizer. And afforestation is the main important, should be the buzzword, and so everybody should plant those forest plant. It is a fundamental duty under section 51A of our article Indian Constitution. So I think these are the area of afforestation, soil preservation, water preservation are also equally important. I think we can conclude in that way, and we should work in that front also. Thank you, Muni Saab and Shukla Saab. Shukla Saab, he is the Vice President of Indian Association of Energy Management Professionals, and he is currently is a Managing Director of Sanjeevani Group and a sugar expert, and a philanthropy and really contribute a lot. Now coming to the question and Q&A sessions, Sunil Kumar ji has asked, making too many parameters, the ESG standardization move will deviate from its core area of focus. Our core focus in the area of climate change, the reduction of carbon emission, sustainable development, but several non-critical parameters like companies, policy on social media, etc. figure in ESG framework. Yes, social media, policy and social, we discuss other parameters, those are equally important. But few parameters like policy and social medias, how it really helps, Pravaji?
I'm not getting you.
Pravaji, Sunil Kumarji has asked too many parameters is really it will deviate from the core areas of focus as far as ESG standardization is concerned. Now, when you are discussing on climate change, reduction of carbon emissions, sustainable development should be the main prime area. But there are a lot of several non-critical areas like policies on social media. How they are going to be helpful for ESG? You are going on with that. Balance thing we already discussed. You can discuss on the policy on social medias, whether you require Facebook, Twitter, and those policy, whether engagement of social is related to in the social media or actually in the social activities. You can elaborate on that.
Even the media is also important, because for any company, what we are, you can say, disclosing our product quality or whatever, right? So because media is very important for any company to make their brand image or whatever. So there should be clear-cut policy for social media also. So that is the main point to be covered. How they have, you can say, they are working on social media. So such type of, you can say, inputs or feedback is required when we are collecting those data. So I think it is not so much critical, but still it is there. It is covered under ESG.
I agreed, not completely. I think we should work, the company should work in such a way that the local community are well trained, well educated, and they have acceptance of that companies, and that societal linkage should be there. It should not be a fact that deep Tale Andhera, you can find a lot of villages are living in dark when there is a power plant inside that village, And those area perhaps also need little bit of requirement is should be there. And yes, social media plays a huge role as far as feedback is concerned. But the way companies are promoting in social medias, even government, so only perhaps I'm not sure. Only Sobazi in social media may not have that ESG framework. I may be wrong, but we need to really have a good community linkage by the company itself so that it will be helpful. Now, Piali has asked, scope 3 calculation, is it mandatory?
No, scope, no. It depends on the company. As I have already said that if you want to achieve the net zero target, if you are planning for the net zero, then scope 3 is compulsory or mandatory. But if you want to become neutral, then in that scenario, scope 3 can be avoided.
Yes. Benu Kopalji has already answered that. Yes, you are correct. Now coming to Vijay Kumar Maniji has really praised you. Good presentation, ESG. Piali has also praised that. Very nice session. Thank you. Suresh ji has thanked Prabhat and also he has asked you to revisit the slide 50 on carbon neutral and net zero. If you can really describe what do you mean by carbon neutral? Again, what do you mean by net zero? Can you elaborate a little bit for a common?
Basically, the carbon neutral means any emissions which are, you can say, not you hard to abate. You can say sectors like in cement plant. So there are process emissions when calcination is there. So process emissions are there. We can replace our, you can say, the electricity which is from grid or coal. We can use the renewable source of electricity. We can use other biomass or biofuels for meeting other requirements. So we can decarbonize our industry. But in the case of cement, like when there is no option, alternate material is there for reducing their process emission from the lime. So those emissions actually need to be nullify or mitigate through the other options like carbon capture or carbon offsetting. So these are the so we can be neutral, but when we are not you can say able to reduce our complete 100% emission, then we have to go for the scope 3 emission or carbon offset.
Vivek Shukla ji has thanked you. Nice presentation. Shiv Kumar ji also said that it is a very good presentation. CR best. Mr. Patil, Maheshwar Prasad ji, and Sapta team, Suresh Kumar ji, and everybody has really appreciated the initiative. And Sai Chandrasekhar ji has requested to have regular connect with all as everyone as a stakeholder. Yes, definitely we agree. In MSI Mission Social India, we feel that everybody is a stakeholder. You can be connected in our WhatsApp group, social media, and we discuss all these points. And I agree that we should be connected and make a public demand. Sapta Parvati ji also has said nice words. And ESG training, definitely Arun Kumar ji, as I told, we will be conducting, we will try to explore those possibilities, conducting regular training on ESG reporting. And PLE has asked one thing: how many companies nowadays calculating scope 3? If you know, Prabhat ji, any ideas on that? How many companies are calculating scope 3?
I think the companies which have declared net zero, like I know the JSW that they are calculating scope 3 emissions also. So depending on that, because every company need to consider scope 3 once they want to achieve net zero target.
Okay, so JSW, perhaps JSW has acquired another plant in Odisha also, BPSL. So even Vedant perhaps will be working on for this. And a lot of companies are really, all the big companies will have to perhaps calculate scope 3. And Vijay Kumar ji has asked, is there a ISO standard for ESG reporting? Any idea?
No. As of now, there is no ISO standard for ESG reporting. So many internationally recognized standards are there, but no ISO standards available as of now.
Okay. Surajji has asked, any idea if any global or local certification bodies are there in the market like GRE or SAB? How somebody wants to certify as a trainer or as a professional? Any ideas on that? And to elaborate so that.
No, certification agency is not there. Rating agencies are available, and the itself, like GRI or SASB or other CDP, they validate once we submit our application for, you can say, we submit the report as per the guidelines. They validate or verify that, okay, this is as per the GRI. So this is the only assurance available by the standards. No third-party verification is available now.
ये तमें आना था okay I have there's some technical glitch. I think I missed few point. Okay, now I hope all can listen to me. Now we have almost come to the close of the question and answer sessions. Now, next question is that Vijay Kumar ji has asked, reporting is one part, verification is another part. Who are the agencies for the above, please? As Prabhaji has told, reporting is being done by any companies. Company can rely on that. Verification process is guideline has already framed. As of now, there is no standard agency or empanel agency either for reporting or for verification. I hope, Prabhaji, I am correct.
Yes.
Now, Sunil Kumar ji has asked, there shall be a proper international national standard procedure for ESG framework like ISO 9001 with clear-cut benchmark parameters and audit procedure. For us, yes, your views point on that. And again, Arun Kumar ji has asked ESG rating provider. Any details on ESG rating provider? You can combine both the questions, Prabhaji.
Yes, already ESG rating agencies are there. I have mentioned around 9 to 10 companies which are, you can say, giving a rating for the ESG performance, and like MSCI, DJSI, and I have mentioned in the slide already.
Yes. No, yes, definitely, Sunil Kumar ji, I think benchmark parameters, definitely some ISO standard will come up, but right now we don't have anything. And Arun Kumar, Kalyan Kumar ji has asked, other than mandatory, what will the benefit of company will get if they follow any ESG reporting? Is it for mandatory or is there any real benefit?
No, actually, already I have told that it is mandatory for 1,000 company as of now in India. And also, the benefit will be there because the European Union has already, I could say, drafted a carbon tax that is called CBAM, Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism. So through which, if you are producing, you are exporting your product, so you need to compete not with the price, but you have to compete with the CO2 emission per unit of product. So that will be there, and otherwise you will not be able to survive or sustain. So that is why you will not be sustained basically. So sustainability will be in risk of your company.
Arun Kumar ji has also elaborated water crisis, poverty, eco-toxicity, air pollutants, affordable goods, services, overconsumption, health, education, carbon emission, resource scarcity, inequality, biodiversity loss. Yes, these are the essential things in which we also at MSI really want to work on this subject, and these are essentials. I completely agree with Vijay Kumar Maniji that what Muni Rawal Sahab has just now said, only carbon emission should not be the criteria. It has a lot of other criteria that we discuss in detail. Then your question, then why international bodies are looking into the only carbon emissions?
Scam.
Yes.
Carbon scam is bigger than Bitcoin scam.
This is really
no. I'll tell you. Let us go to science.
Yeah.
Those greenhouse manufacturers, to boost their agricultural produce, They use liquid carbon dioxide and spray it inside their houses. Why don't we go by science?
Right.
An act can be revised. Why not? It's subject to, it's meant for. Gravity, you can't revise it. Carbon, you cannot change the characteristic. So on one hand, we want to talk about zero hunger. And then on the other, we want to restrict carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. SDGs will have to review their declaration. Suppose if we shave off the entire earthen atmosphere from carbon dioxide, where do we go? And how did life origin on the planet?
Yes, Muni sir. Definitely, we will have a separate session for better understanding. I hope you
Yes.
can write down your number, contact details. Definitely, I will request the MSI team to have a word with you. And even a lot of people have also requested, like Maniji, to have a separate session with Maniji. And we completely agree. We should not have only a carbon tunnel vision. We should have a larger vision to all the chapter what Arun Kumar ji has already said. Then Benu Gopal ji has said that their company is reporting. I am not sure which company. He has not mentioned his company name. And he also requested if any company's representative are there, they can share if they are reporting BRSR. It will be good. You can write in the chat box. And now Akanksha, Manas, everybody has thanked. Vijay Mohanji, thanks for organizing such a wonderful workshop. Definitely, we regularly connect this type of workshop. We have plenty of workshops in future also. And with SP Gadnaik, we are planning. Now we are also planning with Ispat Guru on a good initiative on heat mass balance diagram for steel exports, for steel plant professional. And I think we will conduct this kind of seminar, webinar, and we'll connect each other. Now, Sunil Kumar has a different opinion with Muniji. They are correlating global emission with carbon emission. Carbon dioxide has lowest GWP. CO2 is used only as a base index for assessing other more critical GHG emission rate. Completely agree with you, Sunil Kumar ji. Definitely, we will have a separate session with Maniji soon. And with this, we are almost close to end of the question and session. It is a great timing. It is 5 o'clock. We will be reaching 5 o'clock. And thank you all the participants. Because of you, it is possible to conduct such webinar. I request you to become a live member of IAEMP. Also, kindly donate for this noble cause for Mission Sustainable India. For whatever your capacity, definitely will share the vision document to you. You will be treated as a donor for MSI, and you can have your own views. We like to connect each other. And if you have any, if you are a subject expert, you would like to have become a faculty, kindly spare your time, knowledge, so that Indian Association of Energy Management Professionals, Indian Association of Accredited Energy Auditors, and Mission Sustainable India, and Saraswati Education and Charitable Trust. With this, Vivek Saf, I think we can close the sessions.
Yes, of course. It's a fantastic, and a lot of thanks to Jaruri hai kehna, Vibhu Sahab being the greatest moderator. Many questions to present in front of the forum, and the modulence of all the questions. Fantastic, Vibhu Sahab.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you all. हम नेक्स्ट सैटरडे को ज्वाइन करेंगे. काइंडली सोशल मीडिया में जुड़ते रहिए, एंड यू विल नो ऑल द डिटेल्स, एंड काइंडली डोनेट फॉर द नोबेल कॉज फॉर मिशन सस्टेनेबल इंडिया. थैंक यू all.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thanks everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.